Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 11th May 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Haribol TRSV nectar. NECTAR nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video is no exception to that rule. Actually, it is a mere continuation of what we have been doing in my previous videos. Hence, now let us continue with today's video. Mr. Sanjeev Malik, the internationally renowned spiritual guru, has gone on record claiming that the relationships between a person who has gone spiritual change with that of those with whom he had relations before he had gone spiritual. He means she also. He or she had some relationship with relatives, friends, and others, but this particular relationship changes drastically as soon as this person becomes spiritual or begins treading this spiritual path. When I contemplated on this particular statement after getting intrigued by it, I realized that he indeed had some truth in his statement. In fact, it is a very, very definitive statement. It is indeed a fact that relationships change between a person who is on the spiritual path and the others in the society. I have myself seen it with my own eyes. I have seen that people who were spiritual did not interact so much with mortals and nobodies like us, whereas we found those people uneasy, intriguing, and confusing. This has been my own personal experience. However, once when I also dared to use my little knowledge to tread into this spiritual path, I began contemplating on this particular statement or theory or guess. And I I actually formed some theory which I would like to share with you all. This theory has been formed by me from my own contemplation of the little knowledge that I have. Kindly bear with me and tell me whether it is right or wrong. The spiritual spark when it comes in touch with the material world, becomes a soul. When this soul comes closer to the material world, it is enveloped by four layers of material body, and this we all know. The first layer around the soul is that of causal intelligence. It is a subtle layer. The second layer is called astral mind of feelings and emotions. It is less subtle than the causal layer. The third layer is the layer of etheric senses, which is less subtle than the astral layer of mind of feelings and emotions. However, the fourth layer is the grossest. It is that of the gross body. Let us now not talk about this gross body because it is only a tool to follow the vibrations from etheric senses, astral mind, and causal intelligence. Of the three subtle bodies of ether which envelop the soul, 50% of the society depends on the third layer of etheric senses. In other words, 50% of this society chooses to live in etheric senses alone because that suits their simple life. Other 40% of the society live in a mixture of etheric body and astral mind of feelings and emotions. The other 10 is the one that we would like to talk about in detail. This 10 has at least 8% a combination of etheric senses, astral mind, and causal intelligence. These 8% are gone, remaining are the 2%. In fact, we would like to be more generous. Let us say that of the remaining 10%, 5% are people who are dependent on the etheric body of senses, the astral body of feelings and emotions, and the causal body of intelligence. However, when a person goes spiritual, slowly but steadily, he or she slips into the last 5% of humanity in this society. Now we know it very clearly. Etheric senses is 50%. Etheric senses plus astral mind is another 40%. The last 10 have 5 who are etheric senses, astral mind, and causal intelligence, whereas only the last 5 which want to get spiritual depend only on the causal intelligence. Now, I would like to tell that even these 10% of whom the first 5 have only an iota of causal intelligence become very different from the other 90% in the society. In fact, Even these guys were a part and parcel of that 90% till yesterday. At that time, they enjoyed a particular circle of relatives, friends, well wishers, etc., who came under the category of etheric senses and astral mind. However, as soon as these guys start getting attracted towards the spiritual side, the causal intents of those living entities takes over their brain and their psyche, as a result of which these people become lesser and lesser interested in all those things which once interested them a lot when they thought that their own very life depended on those particular objects. When these people get spiritual, they try to think about the soul, the super soul, the spiritual whole, the supreme personality of Godhead, self realization, liberation, deliverance, etc. Their very psyche changes, their thoughts begin to revolve around these particular matters. These things either intrigue or confuse or at best irritate the other 90%. They are not yet matured enough to think in these lines. Hence, they are very confused or uneasy in the company of these people who have suddenly turned spiritual and who have started thinking laterally or differently. People who are no more interested in this material world. That is the result. That is the reason why the 90% of humanity chooses to be wary of these people who have suddenly come into the small bracket of 10% and become spiritual. And then this 90% wants to avoid these people. In fact, they are very scared, confused, irritated, cynical, and jeery of these spiritual beings. You would appreciate that you yourself belong to the 90% category once, and at that time you were cynical about those in the spiritual side. Before completing this story, let me tell you that according to our own wise men and spiritualists, religion is fanatics or pure religion makes a person fanatic. Pure philosophy makes a person blind speculator. But when a person is able to mix religion with philosophy, he or she turns spiritual. We all must try to become such spiritual beings, people who know how tiny we are, how beautiful this spiritual path is, how long it is, and how it will guide us towards self realization, liberation from this material world, and final deliverance into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We must not bother about the other 90% to which we ourselves once belonged when their relationships with us change because of the change in our psyche from materialism to spiritualism. Please let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, ideas, and views so that I may blend it all with my theory for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.